Hello and welcome to the next episode of Pixel Reacts, the Pixel parent show that brings you our thoughts, reactions, and takes on the biggest gaming events, releases, and moments out there. I am your host, Liam Kirkkelvin, and of course, I'm joined by Scott, the Tastemaker Curry. Say hello, Scott.
Hello, Scott, again.
And today, we're of course going to talk about the Xbox Game Showcase and the Call of Duty Black Ops Direct that followed it. So we're going to dive in, Scott, but I think I'm going to kick this off. They've done it. They have done it. I think we went into this with high hopes, and I thought they'd take
Yes.
a big ass swing, and thoroughly enjoyed and impressed by that showcase. What did you make of it?
Yeah. 100% agree with you. I think that a lot of our conversations from now and even in the past are that Xbox aren't really taking a gamble, and from what we've seen with what's happened with, Tango and everyone else, that they're they're kind of taking a step back from that. But if you have any doubt about Xbox, I mean, some of it, if not all of it, should be quashed by now. I think that there's a lot of love kind of with the Xbox at the moment, kind of after it, and I do feel some of that myself. But I think you also have to be mindful of what has happened prior to this. But yeah,
Yeah.
the doom mongerer will stay quiet for the moment, and I'll come back to that when necessary.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the recent podcast. The big Xbox chat. Check it out on
hmm
Spotify. But we've been saying for ages, and it's not just this year, years before it, that they just need a W. And I think today it was as clear a W as you can get. It's the most excited I've been for stuff coming on my Xbox for a long time. I think I
Yeah,
was looking at all these games. I was making my notes, and I was like, "Yep, I'll play that." And the fact that it's on Game Pass for a lot
yeah,
of them, I think the vast majority of games here
yeah.
are coming to Game Pass. I was like, "Yep, I'll give that the college try," as we like to say on this
Yeah. I
podcast.
think,
And yeah,
yeah, I totally agree with you. Even if it's coming out on PlayStation 5 or other consoles and stuff, because it is out on Games Pass, I'm probably now going to use that as default console for those kind of games and stuff as well. So,
yep,
I totally agree with you. And it is, with all everyone's negative and down on Xbox at the moment with obviously the news and stuff. So it is good to see them kind of place a bit more emphasis on the games. Like we obviously had Phil, Matt, and Sarah come
mm,
out at points, but
yeah.
there was a lot of time and a lot of sort of love given to these games. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of get into how we feel about them all.
Yeah, I think we'll go through all the announcements in a bit. I think we just wanted to just kind of linger on this overview, but see, like everything here from the way it was presented, it had such a nice rhythm to it. It was just game
Yeah.
after game after game, all killer, no filler, as they say. Even
hmm
if there was the odd game where I was like, I wouldn't necessarily play that, I thought nothing ever outstayed its welcome. In
hmm
terms of how I like to see these things presented, I'm like, yep, like if everyone
Yeah.
could be like that. And yeah, I thought they've just smashed it. Like
hmm
if I look back at like the recent state of play, in fact, even like if I could take a handful of state of plays and compare them to this, it's
hmm
just night and day. Like I think Xbox here have found a sweet spot. I'd love to see them present more things like this going forward. Of course, it's all content dependent, but
Yeah.
here everything aligned finally. Finally, I felt it aligned for them. They had that mix of, you know, new installments, brand new games, like big hype moments. The one more thing, everything that you're kind of asking for in these big summer showcases was there, and I'm like, credit where it's due. Um,
Yeah.
Especially like if I look at Summer Game Fest, like the what we saw a couple of nights ago, the fatigue that I felt after it, I could have watched this one for another half hour easily. I think it
hmm
ran at about 90 minutes, didn't it?
If not more than that, I think it was
Yeah.
maybe just that or a wee bit more. But yeah, I totally agree. Um, I think that if we're lingering on the points of overall thoughts on it initially, um, I kind of feel like the lack of acknowledgement of what's been going on was
Hmm.
a wee bit sort of disingenuous.
Yeah.
Having Phil come out being pure, oh, this is all the amazing work that our partners in Activision and Bethesda and all these other Xbox game studios are doing. and then we all know what's happened. Like, let's
Mm.
just ignore the elephant in the room. Like, it kind of felt a wee bit disingenuous, and I think you'll see a lot of sort of pushback on Twitter and things like that on it. But
Mhm.
you can't. I mean, you can't fault them for what they're doing.
No,
Um, I
no,
think that you know they're obviously doing a lot to try and bring in new fans and kind of keep that old fan base alive.
yeah,
Um, and they've obviously doubled down on the sort of the older the older generations, because there's nothing here for
Mhm.
kids, nothing here for them at all. Um, and the only other criticism that I had was that there was, for a lot of the titles that we saw, there wasn't really exact dates
Yeah,
on
there
when
was
they
a
were coming
few.
out. It was a
Yeah,
lot of sort of 2024, 2025. You know, it was like, that's cool, that's fine, and it feels like that's why we're excited about it. You know, we
yeah,
know that there's things coming, but um, aye, nitpicking at best. But yeah, I was happy to see a lot of the games on this, and when I was watching it, there was a lot of it. I was like, Liam was going to be shitting his pants
you know
right now.
me far too well. I think there was a lot here that appealed to my tastes.
Yeah.
And you're right about, like, acknowledging the state of what's happened, particularly Xbox Game Studios. It's a funny one, because we have to take these people for what they are, face value, which is
Hmm.
driving a massive capitalist business. And that's by no means the corporate apologist coming out. I'm just thinking, how could they? It's an interesting challenge for them to take into consideration. Like, how could they be more acknowledging of the
Yeah.
direction they've had to take, but then at the same time without
Yeah.
sounding disingenuous in that front? Because I think we've in workplaces, I've been there sadly where redundancies have happened, and you've had the boss stand in front of you like, you're just giving you like the what feel rehearsed lines, and
Yeah. The old patter.
it's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah, it
Good to
is.
see
It's
though.
impossible. It's a completely impossible situation, and it's the reality of business at the end of the
Sadly,
day. But it's I felt like just touching on parts of it, you know, even just an acknowledgement of it
yeah.
would have been nice. But aye, that's kind of my initial thoughts on it anyway.
Right, so what I'm going to do is let's recap the show, like each of the announcements. So I'm just going to go through which each one of them is here, and we're just going to talk through them. But they kicked off the show with the Black Ops 6 kind of campaign trailer. You kind of got to see some big figureheads like, Bill Clinton, Colin Powell, Saddam Hussein popped up. I
Hmm.
mean, it
Yep.
looked like Call of Duty. You had Firestarter, so it's kind of like implying that 90s setting. I think it's
Yep.
taking place post Cold War.
Yeah.
And the leak, which was about an hour beforehand, as a release date, so it's coming October 25th, a little bit sooner than I expected. Um, any thoughts on that one, Scott?
No, I don't
It's
play
cool.
Call of Duty campaigns at all. It's
Yeah.
not no interest in it whatsoever. Popped huge for William Clinton, but um,
Slick Willy.
it's cool seeing like an era and a time that I grew up in. You know,
Yeah.
like it kicked off showing 1991, which was obviously the year I was born. So
Mhm.
it's I mean, obviously yours was like 1960, so you've obviously seen all this happening anyway. But it was pretty cool just seeing things that I recognise now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously know who historical figures are, but seeing like Saddam Hussein, seeing the statue and stuff like that, obviously before it's been torn down.
Yep.
Um, I'm sure I saw a trailer with Margaret Thatcher in it as well. I am certain
No, you
I
did.
seen Margaret Thatcher
You did.
somewhere. Boo hiss. But what do you call it? You know, it gave us a wee snapshot into some of the gameplay things as well, some of the
Yeah.
movement and everything at the same time. We've obviously seen some of the leaks talking about the sort of the kind of movement and everything as well with it, and like diving and stuff like that. So we saw somebody dive backwards into a train and everything, and sort of shoot behind them and all that. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's more. There was more to that in the other gameplay stuff later in the show, but it's a Call of Duty campaign, so you know what's coming.
And
Gruff
I have
talking.
more stuff to kind of report back on with that, with the Black Ops 6 Direct at the end of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I made a note here. Like, I love how 90s is slowly becoming the new 80s. I'm all here for it.
Yes, it's disgusting though, innit? Like
it's
where we're getting older.
I
Like
know.
we'll soon see like COVID games and like games about other things.
Just
Like,
stockpiling toilet paper. The game.
aye,
You know what I mean? Oh God.
clapping for nurses every day.
Oh, don't take me back to the toilet paper days. You know what I mean? I
Mad,
couldn't
man,
remember
it's
that.
mad.
I forgot about the nurses clapping one day, and I remember being like, "What's all that noise?" People outside rattling pots and pans and stuff. Anyway, I digress. So we then go from that, and of course, Big Phil Spencer comes out to really kick off the show. You could see the production values oozing out of this, like very
Yeah.
slick. The budgets, they've really put all that big corporate cash weight behind this. And he's just kind of reiterating everything you said at the start, just talking about the teams that they've got, how Blop 6 is going to be the first COD game available day one in Game Pass. But then we move to the next announcement, which was you just seen Bethesda Presents. And of course, it's Doom The Dark Ages coming 2025, Game Pass and PC. My God, everything about this just looked
Yeah.
exactly what we want from Doom. What did you make of it?
It's cool. It's cool, man. Like, I never jumped on board the Eternal train, and
So good.
seeing the shield and the shotgun and stuff like that, like it was absolutely class.
Yeah.
You obviously saw them innovate the Doom the Doom gameplay with, was it like the grappling hook or something like that
Yeah.
in Eternal. So seeing them sort of do a bit more with this shield and the different ways that you can sort of you can throw it about and everything was actually really cool. As I say, I wrote down the gameplay looked excellent. Loved the shield gameplay, and I just wrote Mecha Doom guy. That's literally all I wrote. Mecha Doom guy, and then Dragon. I wrote that. I think it looks cool as hell. It looks like a Doom game, and it looks graphically looks phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, I noticed that a lot here during this
Yeah.
presentation. Feels like we're getting into the swing of the power of this
Yeah.
generation, but I mean, it looked epic, metal as all hell.
Mhm.
The Doom guy in that animal skin cape. I mean,
Yes.
come on. I mean, what more? What more do I actually need? Like,
It's just annoying that it sort of leaked beforehand.
yeah,
Like,
100%.
I feel like if I'd seen this, because I didn't look at the leaks, but I saw they were there, and I feel like if I've ever seen this for the very first time, you know, then I've been more excited. But it's definitely something to get excited about. And if you're a Doom fan, then you'll be eating good.
I should add to listeners that we are recording this podcast remotely this week, so there was a little hiccup there with Scott talking. You came back though. We got you.
How
We
dare
got
you?
you. I know.
It's,
I know. But that's
aye.
technology. On the subject of growing into technology, but yeah, I thought great way to really kick off the show. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I sometimes feel so disappointed with the leakers out there, both prominent and non-prominent. It just kind of feels like you're just chasing clout. And I understand that's the space, but I mean, give the developers their moment, give them their pop. Like, well, better than that. You don't have to do
Yeah.
that to kind of chase these things, but there's some people that have built their own personal brand on doing that.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep doing that. But hey ho. So we then moved on. Xbox Game Studios, speaking of leaks, it was State of Decay 3. Now, it's coming day one to Game Pass. There was no date shown on this, which I was surprised by. But did you enjoy this one, Scott? Did this do anything for you?
Nope. It was too long. It was about 15 minutes of sad music with sad things happening in it.
Yeah, I noticed that though. The somber
it's-
tone felt a bit more
yeah.
pronounced here. You know, they try to be a
It
bit more
was-
Last of Us. That felt. Who knows?
Aye. It did nothing for me. A CG trailer with some of the gameplay in it and stuff as well, but I didn't feel anything. I never played State of Decay 1. Didn't know there was a State of Decay 2, but obviously people do know because it's got a third installment. So if
Yeah.
you enjoy State of Decay and sad games, then this one's for you.
Yep. I mean, it's been cooking for a while. They announced this a while back, I'm sure, State of Decay 3, but yeah, I did. The thing I noticed about it was the tone. I'm with you. It's not a game that I'm going to play personally.
Nah.
That's just not my kind of game. But yeah, it looks like they're trying to just inject it with a little bit more of a serious tone this time around, and more of these big ass zombie enemies, you know. So if you want it, it's whenever it is released, it's coming day one in Game Pass. That's something to get excited about if that's your jam. But then they kept the pace going from this point, I felt. So next was EA, BioWare, in-engine footage, which is something that I was delighted that they stressed throughout this campaign, well, this whole presentation, if it's in-engine or cinematics. But
Yeah.
it's Dragon Age, the Veilguard, coming 2024, and this was all in-engine. It looked absolutely mind-blown. Like, if the game, we get this in our hands and it looks like this, my Christ, we're in for a treat. And I also had a wee bit of Heroes blaring in the background by Bowie, but happy days. But yeah, what did you make of this one, Scott? I know you're not the big Dragon Age guy, but what did you
No.
make of the trailer?
I tried to take down the names of each character in it,
Yeah.
and I got lost halfway through. Doesn't have the same. I mean, obviously not a massive Dragon Age fan, but it doesn't have the same vibe as you would normally see from a Dragon Age game.
Yep, I'm totally with you.
And obviously, this is now this is now the path they're going down. That's not, what was it called again? Dawn. What was it?
It's Dawnwolf. It was.
Dawn, like
sure.
Dreadwolf. Dreadwolf or something. Like
yes, you're right. Dreadwolf.
I had that bald guy in it. What'd you call it? I think if you're a Dragon Age fan, you'll be happy to see it because people have been see more about it. And yeah, getting a date for it, was it fall 2024 or something? They said.
I just wrote. It just said coming 2024. They didn't even specify a season, but that is 10 years since Inquisition came out, which is mad. 10 years.
Inquisition is the only Dragon Age game that I ever played, and it was very, it doesn't have the same tone as this. So it's good to see they're obviously going for a different path with this. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see how they go with that, and the fact that it's, did they say if it's on Game Pass or anything, or was it just?
I don't think it is coming to Game Pass. No.
If it was, then I'd play it straight away. But now that it's not, I'll maybe hold off until you tell me whether to play it or not.
Well, I was very, very delighted and very excited, looking forward to that one. And yeah, the tone just looked like so much fun. I just couldn't get away the fact that if this is an engine, again, it's just like, it looks a step up. It's particularly from the last Dragon Age, which at the time, they always said it was a looker. I always thought it looked a wee bit off, but this looks amazing. Just give me more. But we shall move on. We went on to Xbox Game Studios with Bethesda, and it's a big Starfield update. So they were basically given a bit of a story campaign for the Shattered Space expansion, which is coming this year, 2024. And they also announced that an update is going live tonight with new locations, gear, bounties, custom content from the community as well. And they also said plus more, kind of teasing that. But coming back to the Shattered Space expansion, I'm totally on board for this. Like, I loved the fact that it was had a bit of a creepy vibe going on at points, some extraterrestrial enemies in there as well, talking about House Maroon and this kind of space cult or religion you seem to be up against. It was kind of giving me some Destiny vibes. But did this do anything for you, Starfield wise, Scott? No.
Nope, not at all. Didn't know it was Starfield at first, and then I was like watching it. I was like, this looks like Prey. This looks, it's got like sort of vibes of Prey or sort of Dead Space, but and then I saw it pan out. And you saw that ship come in. I was like, oh, it's fucking Starfield. I'm not a Starfield fan. So yeah, I just wrote Starfield shite. Let Liam cook. That's literally all I wrote. Like you'll obviously do the legwork on this because I'm not remotely interested at all.
Well, you are correct. You are correct. I'm going to get the pans on now. But I've recently went back to Starfield, and it's a game that I'm finding myself popping in and out of since the update went live. It's transformed that game for me, and it's just so much more fun. Like kind of picking up from a new game plus, and yeah, I am all in on this. I was kind of hoping that they would be like, yeah, we're going to put the expansion on Game Pass as well, but that's just the tight old Dan me talking. But yeah, if you're wanting more Starfield, check out this trailer. There's a lot to get excited about. Then we move on, more from Bethesda, and it's an expansion for Fallout 76 Skyline Valley coming June 12th, 2024. And they also announced that you can play as a ghoul coming 2025. So this is they said it's the first ever map expansion for Fallout 76. You're going to be playing in Vault 63. Did everything you'd expect, new enemies and creatures. I'm just like, that looks pretty cool, but it's too late for me to get into Fallout 76. What was your thoughts?
100%. I don't think I'd get into it anyway. I still long for the day where I saw that trailer for the first time, thinking it was an actual standalone Fallout game, and they had Country Roads playing on it.
Yeah.
I still like that first trailer that I saw Fallout 76, but um, again, I always go back to this. There's obviously a fan base for it, and we obviously seen the numbers for Fallout 76 rise when the TV show came
Yeah.
out. So there's reason for it to come.
Oh, I think we've got a pesky connection issue.
This isn't
now.
there.
Pesky connection
isn't
issue,
there.
Scott. So you just cut out for a second there, man. Had a bit of dead air. Apologies for that.
This isn't going to take me into this game. This isn't what's going to bring me into the Fallout 76 world.
Yeah. I'm totally in agreement with you, man. I think as what it is, and we move on. But then we've got our first world premiere of the night from Sandfall Interactive. It's a game called Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and that's going to be coming to Xbox and PC Game Pass day one. I didn't get note of a date here. Is this one?
No, it just says 2025, and it was also confirmed for PS5 as well after.
Right.
What'd
you make of this one?
Oh man, it's like French Persona. Immediately taken in because it's obviously Ben Starr who voices Clive from Final Fantasy 16. I thought this looked phenomenal. I was enjoying the look of it anyway, and then the combat starts. It's turn-based combat.
Yep.
You've got like an active counter parry, jumps during combat and stuff as well, and it's an interesting locale for the game. So I totally on board with this, and immediately after I watched this trailer, I went and followed the developers on Twitter as well.
Nice. Not I knew straight away when I seen this, like with those Persona, I was like, this just looks like Persona in a different kind of skin, but it did look absolutely stunning. Everything about this, I mean, the polish that's gone into it. They showed off in-game footage and cinematics as well.
Yeah,
highlighted that. If this being on Game Pass, I think I would check this out. You know me,
100%.
I'm not a big Persona guy at all, but this looked tremendous. Really impressed.
It goes back to the same point that I was making earlier, that if it's the choice between I don't have to pay for it full price, or I have to pay for it full price on PS5, or I can play it day one on Game Pass with the subscription for it, I'll absolutely go to Xbox and do it. So yeah, absolutely, totally on board, and it's really, really interesting. So totally cool with it.
Excellent. And from there, we moved on to the next reveal from Compulsion Games, which was, I've totally lost my place in my notes here.
South of Midnight.
Yep, South of Midnight, coming in 2025 to Xbox and PC and day one with Game Pass. This looked fantastic. I was, as soon as it showed you the gameplay aspect, and it was kind of like, took on, it actually reminded me a lot of Jedi Survivor, almost, just kind of what they're going for, with the kind of, like the way the camera was locked onto the enemies and stuff, but then also had the hints of Assassin's Creed style navigation, and then that stop motion type animation, pretty cool style. Something different in this kind of fantasy bayou setting. I'm sure that they showed this beforehand.
It has been seen before. I'm pretty sure it was it last year they had a big event and it was shown, briefly. I remember seeing it back then and thinking it looked cool, but this is, as you say, day one on Game Pass, so absolutely kind of willing to jump into that. And it's got a massive talking fish, so that's what more can you ask for? But you're talking about inspiration from Assassin's Creed. You're talking about the Star Wars games there as well, but it also reminded me a wee bit of sort of Devil May Cry when it locked you into that sort of wall for combat and stuff as well. Totally my type of game, and the animation for it looked fantastic. So very, very interested in checking that one out.
Yeah, it was just I felt like this was a real like breath of fresh air, like especially with this and like the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 before that as well. I was like, here's two games that went on the radar and now firmly placed on that radar, and it's promoting the use of Game Pass. So definitely worth checking them out. 100%. But we'll move on to the next presentation, which is from Blizzard, and it is World of Warcraft: The War Within, which is coming 26th of August this year to PC. It was all cinematics. It's epic AF, as the kids would say. Any thoughts on this one, Scott? Because I'm not a World of Warcraft player.
Why are you asking me? No thoughts at all. Again, not for me, but the trailer was long AF. And someone somewhere will be excited for it. But yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it is what it is. We'll move on. So we go there, and I think at this point, both of our phones are igniting because the hype levels go through the roof. The roof, sorry, and it's Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta. Scott, just take it away.
Oh man. Even just seeing it again, seeing that Halo jump all over again, seeing Major Zero and Paramedic in this engine. I was so happy just seeing their faces all over again. I literally wrote the words "He's gorgeous" when it looked at, when we got to see Snake again. I was like, he is beautiful. It shows you some of the scenes before the bridge. Before you go and pick up Sokolov, and kind of the movement and stuff like that as well, it'll be a bit different to the kind of what we're used to, even with Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. The way that he moves is a wee bit different.
Yeah.
I took some notes. Obviously, it confirms the croc cap has to have the croc cap in there anyway.
Yep.
Then I was excited to see the hunting and stuff as well. More onus on maybe kind of catching food and everything as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Camel, CQC all confirmed. And then we got to see the boss.
Yes.
Pure buzzing to see her. Looks a wee bit different to sort of what we're used to, but and I think that there's been a lot of backlash online and kind of how she looks. But I've got no interest. I've got no sort of no qualms with it. I'm quite happy with how the game looks. If you told me that they're going to sort of remake Metal Gear Solid, this is what I would expect it to look like. Like this 100%. Is exactly what I would expect. I think it looks great. Again, kind of a bit frustrated that there's no date shown. Nothing confirmed for that. But I did just before we came on, I was reading sort of some details on it, and I think that there's a podcast or something on Xbox on Tuesday.
Right.
On a bit more sort of gameplay and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
So
good heads
maybe
up.
We'll get to see a wee bit more about that as well. But if you love Snake Eater, then I think you've got a lot to love with this. But the Metal Gear Solid community are never happy with anything that they ever get. So I'm sure people will be unhappy for some reason.
Yeah, I suppose what community is happy at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was great to hear like David Hayter in that as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's re-recording lines or anything. I'm not sure.
I think it's been confirmed that they're not recording lines. They're just putting the old, because it's exactly the same. Right, it sounds exactly the same as the previous one, and it doesn't need to change.
Yeah.
The voice actor in Metal Gear Solid 3 is fantastic. I just want to see Ocelot. I sent out a tweet.
Yeah.
Immediately afterwards, I was like, Konami know what they're doing by not showing anyone Ocelot, because the internet will bust. It will bust the minute they see his face.
Yeah.
But the minute I saw that plane, I was just like, my God.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
It was fantastic to see, like the photorealism, like kind of layer that's over this now. Remaking the best Metal Gear Solid game. Come at me, internet. It's just so good. I was really perplexed at the lack of the date as well. I was really hoping that it's like, just confirm it's delayed. That kind of puts a question mark over like, well, what's happening here, because we've heard a lot of different things out there, but we'll stay the course. I'm sure we'll get something.
We saw a lot, like, we've seen areas in the game that are a little late game, if not like very end of the game. So it's how far into development are they? But I'm interested to see how they do it, because we've not seen any. We've now seen the boss. Can't remember if we've seen Volgan yet. We know what he looks like from 5 anyway, but I'm interested to see him. Can't remember if we've seen Eva. the what do you call them, like the pain, the fury, and all that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, they've not
Absolutely
been
show me
shown
to
yet.
see them and see the end. Show me the end
Yeah, yeah.
now. Show me them.
You'll see him in the end. So yeah. So no, Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater Delta, definitely one of the highlights of the show. We move on. The next we've got a Sea of Thieves update, season 13 update coming July 25th. We'll move on from there. And then we've got the next announcement from A44 Games, from the makers of Ashen, Souls-like game, Kill All Gods, 18th of July 2024, coming to Game Pass day one. Scott, what was your thoughts on this one?
I thought it was called Flintlock Siege of Dawn.
Or was it?
Yeah, I think Kill All Gods is one of the taglines. I think it's called Flintlock Siege of Dawn.
See, I was
But
really
correct me.
confused watching that because
Aye,
they
'cause I
both were
wrote
presented in the
Kill-
title style.
All Gods, but I think it is this Flintlock. Initially, I was like, seems a bit weird. Like, doesn't look great. But then the more I watched it, and the sort of the gunplay, the swords and everything as well, and then a weird flying dog. It seems like we had this conversation. Are we in the end game for like Ronin
Souls-like.
type games? But now we're in the Souls like generation. So every game is a Souls like, which I'm not angry about. But actually was fantastic, and I'm expecting the same things from this. So yeah, interested to see what happens.
Excellent. Now, we did lose you for a second. I believe you said the action looks fantastic. You're right, it is Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn. Apologies on that one. Make it clearer in your marketing, for Christ's sake. So yeah, no, that I'm totally with you. I made a note just writing down, how many Souls-like games are we going to get now? Is it an overly done trope? However, I'm still going to eat that up, especially if it's coming to Game Pass day one. But yeah, looked great. We move on. We got the next announcement was Age of Mythology Retold, which is coming September 4th, day one to Game Pass, like an RTS game with kind of like that Greek god setting. I've also wrote a note here that's like said that me and Scott will not play this, but if you like RTSs, that's there for you. But we don't have much to say in that, so we'll move on to the next one, and it's a big one.
Yes,
Joanna Dark is back. We've got Perfect Dark coming day one to Game Pass, but no date to this at all. And we finally get to see the first gameplay, seeing what the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics have been cooking up. My God, like I was so happy to see this. So happy. I was just absolutely buzzing all the way through it. And I also knew when we come to this podcast, Scott was either going to absolutely hate this at best or have no thoughts. No thoughts at all.
Is this me now?
Yep.
We all know my love for first person games,
Can't
absolutely
get enough
love them. It looks fantastic, and there's a lot going on. I've never played Perfect Dark. I'll put that out there initially. I have no love for this, no hate for it. I don't feel anything for it. But it looks incredible, but with for me personally, first person in that world, seeing everything that's going on in that screen, kind of everything moving around, it felt like pure I will be motion sick even just looking at this. Do you know what I mean? Like, but for what I know of the Perfect Dark series and sort of what it promises it does, it's delivered a lot and more.
The
only thing it hasn't delivered is a release date or a release window on it. So, so I've got no thoughts on it, to be honest with you, but it definitely looked incredible. Even just in first person, it looked absolutely beautiful. So I'm interested to see how it continues to grow. But Xbox fans are eating.
Well, eating good, and the fact that again, Game Pass day one, I've totally agree with you. Like, everything here looked crisp, 60 frames per second. The spy and the stealth gameplay, like scanning people and items for intel. The gunplay looked amazing. They're showing off some parkour gameplay, very Mirror's Edge as well. Just fantastic. The Joanna Dark model looked great, even though if that was a cinematic as well. But I was expecting a cinematic trailer here. The fact that they've showed gameplay amazing. I'm so disappointed they didn't have a date, but it's only a very minor disappointment. I think this is a big heavyweight swing for
Yeah, yeah,
Xbox and it's landed. I was delighted,
yeah.
just so
My
happy with it.
favorite, my favorite thing about trailers like this is that this is someone who obviously understands everything that you need to know about playing Perfect Dark. If you put me in that world, I am bouncing off the walls or like falling off a ledge or something like that. It kind of felt like, there's a moment in the trailer where she goes through a door and there's like a flashing red light and a shutter shutting down,
Yeah.
and you zip through that shutter. I'd be interested to see what happens if I don't. If it's like, do I have to attempt it in some other way, or is it locked out or something like that? But for what I've seen, it's interesting. So it's piqued my interest, and I think that because it is on Game Pass, it's a game that I will download
One
at
hundred
least.
percent, 100%, and it was great to see. But then we move on to the next. So Matt Booty comes out just to do the usual, just to talk about the games are working on expansions, blockbusters, new additions, thanking the community, and then we move into the next announcement, which was Diablo 4: Vessel of Hatred, which is coming October this year. I think it's October 8th. When it's in
Eighth.
to Xbox and PC. It was all cinematic. All I've wrote is, "What a way to lose one's arms." What did you make of this one, Scott?
Well, if it makes you feel better, I wrote weird Dreamcatcher thing. Um, it was weird, man. Diablo cutscenes are always weird, and they always look mad. Like they're
Yeah.
always incredible looking. Like you see the tears in one's eyes. You
Mhm.
see everything happening on their faces. It is what it is. We
Yeah.
all. I don't think they need to show us the new class, the what is it? The new there's kind of more story and stuff like that as well. We don't need to see that. It's Diablo. We know what Diablo is and we know what it's going to be. So, aye, people will be happy to see that it's updated and stuff in October.
Yep. Well, Diablo on the way. And then we move into the next announcement, which is from Playground Games, and it's Fable. The first time we've really seen glimpses of gameplay, which is coming in 2025 to Xbox, PC, and day one on Game Pass. And of course, all of you Peep Show fans out there will have noticed that Super Hands is playing
Super hand.
Humphrey, which is
Yeah.
Albion's quote greatest hero unquote. Scott, what did you make of this?
It looked like it looked like a Fable game. I don't know. I never played Fable either. I just wrote it looks phenomenal. Gave us a look at combat. Kind of basic looks at sort of magic and archery and stuff as well, and kind of the tone that they're going for as well with it.
Yeah.
I understand from Fable that you kind of make your own story with that, and you can kind of become who you want, and you can kind of see that from the trailers that there's a specific tone there. I think that it looks incredible from what we've seen from it.
Yeah.
And just after it, I was just scrolling through Twitter, and I saw that Playground are being supported. I think it's been confirmed now. But kind of Eidos Montreal are now officially confirmed to be supporting Playground with it. So, aye, again, Xbox fans, Fable fans will be happy with what they've seen.
I was. I think I just wrote down, like, if the gameplay, if it looks like this, holy Christ, to be in for a treat. Like the fidelity of this is unreal. Looks like they're kind of shifted the perspective slightly, so it's just like that off-centered third person kind of perspective in this. Cool monsters, the combat looked great. Totally in, and yeah, with you. Like the cheeky tone is still there, and it looks like it's trying to tell its own kind of dark fantasy story. It's interesting to see that shift. The original Fable games, I'd also were kind of cartoonish almost to this kind of photorealistic.
Beware, aye, yeah,
but it works. It works.
No, 100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it does. It looks interesting, and I think that's really all I can ask of it. To be honest with you, for someone who has no emotional or even sort of general attachment to any of these games, like your Fable and your Perfect Dark, it's done enough to make me interested to see what happens next.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll look forward to seeing more from it. Can't wait. But we'll move on to the next, which is a world premiere. and it is Fragpunks, which is coming in 2025, which is a 5v5 rule changing hero shooter that looks like there's a lot of card based abilities to kind of change up the arenas for cool effects. I was really excited to talk to you about this one because I really want to get your thoughts. What did you make of it?
Feel okay about it. I like big head mode.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of big head mode and everything, and I think that before we came on again in my journalistic endeavours of checking sort of news online and stuff as
Nope.
well as speaking about play. So
We had another
there's
technical,
there.
another
I'll repeat exactly said. But yeah, in my endeavours of trying to have journalistic integrity, it's been confirmed that it's now free to play as well. So,
Amazing.
again, there's a space. Is there space for more 5v5 shooters? It's a market that's becoming more and more saturated as every day passes, but it's innovating something and it looks different, and the art style and everything that it's going for looks great. So
It definitely
interested to see more from it.
Yeah, I really, really like this idea of the twist with the card based abilities. It looks like it could just kind of refresh things just outside of picking a hero class, you know, if you want to go support or assault or whatever. It
Yeah.
looks like it could be a lot of fun. It looks like it's not taking itself too seriously. Pretty funny, like with the big head modes and stuff, and that could obviously improve your chances of headshots. No, it's definitely one. If it's free to play, absolutely checking that out. But yeah,
Yeah.
really liked what was on show there. But then we move on to the next world premiere, which was from Pine Creek Games and Noodle Cake, which is this kind of cutesy art narrative type farm simulator survival game, which is called Winter Burrow, which is coming in 2025 to Xbox and PC, and of course, Game Pass day one. What's your thoughts on this one, Scott?
I have none. It's this. I just wrote cute mouse game.
Yeah.
Kind of like it kind of gave me vibes of Don't Starve.
Mhm.
But with a mouse. Probably not for me, but as we kind of always say, there will be someone out there that will play it.
100%. It looked like a children's story book come to life. But yeah, I'm with you. It's not one for me, but it's there. It's coming.
Yeah.
But now we move on to one which is 100% for me. And I was
Oh, I know.
absolutely buzzing to see this. And it was Annapurna Interactive. And they have announced Mixtape, which is coming 2025, Game Pass day one, Xbox and PC. All I'm going to say is just the vibe, everything about this, perfection, absolutely perfection. What did you make of it?
I wrote, this is a game for Liam. If anything, what piqued my interest was just the playlist, you know, the kind of the music that's playing throughout it. With these kind of games, it's hard to kind of tell what you're actually. I mean, this is going to sound really daft because it shows you, but how much of that is actually going to be you doing that, and how often you can do it. Like, there's obviously skateboarding and stuff in the game. Is that gameplay, or is that like a cutscene where you see them sort of scooting about and stuff? I'd be interested to see more about it, but it's definitely something that I probably won't play, and something you'll tell me about. And that's sort of where I sit on it, to be honest with you.
I can't wait to report back on that in the podcast next year when I've played it. It looks like, you know, the skateboarding's reversal, the whole American Summers based in the 80s with that soundtrack, you had like Roxy Music and stuff like that playing as well. And the fact that there's a bit of like psychedelic or supernatural type things hinted at, probably more psychedelic. At one point, you're riding a dinosaur, which I was like, this game is actually just made for me. This is fantastic. I am, and it also hinted at like 2D platforming sections as well. Just a little snippet of that. Man, like, yes, like everything about this just looked fantastic. I'm so excited. Please check out the trailer. Get hyped. Let's go. It's one of my big locks on this. Like, absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. But I won't wax lyrical about that. I'll move on. But the next one, of course, is Flight Simulator 2024, which is coming November 19th to Game Pass day one, Xbox and PC. It showed a lot of what you can do in there, and I'm just going to list them off here, which I managed to get down. You've got Red Bull Air Race, you've got commercial flights, air ambulance, aerial advertising, VIP charter service, agricultural aviation, search and rescue, helicopter cargo and commercial cargo flights, aerial firefighting, and it also hinted at hot air balloons, blimps, jet fighters. Wow, like it looked absolutely just stunning. And I thought I picked up Microsoft Flight Simulator when it came on Game Pass, and I was immediately quite bored. But this, just having these things to do and kind of live out your kind of aviation goals and fantasies looks pretty cool. The fact that it's in
Mhm.
Game Pass, I'm like, yeah, I think I might just check that out for a weekend. What did you make of it?
Yeah. Same as you, to be honest with you. Flight Simulator, it bored me from the moment that I played it. It's always cool to jump on it and fly over your house,
Yep.
but what you got? So, seeing all the different things that you can do is really interesting. Half expecting it to show like Amazon delivery and stuff like that as well. Like
Yeah.
drone delivery, but the game every single time we see it, it always looks cool. And it looked fantastic here as well. So you sometimes see people play on like three monitors and at one time, playing Flight Simulator, and they're controlling a KLM flight to Amsterdam. But this is dead interesting, and I think it'll be cool to see sort of the role playing aspect of it as well. So yeah, 100%. I think that's
Yeah.
class.
It looks like the type of game that you could pick up and do one of these activities. It's just kind of like a chill out activity, just
Yeah,
like I'm going to be an air ambulance today, and the wee boy inside you is kind of like cool, and maybe I did the same thing as you with Flight Simulator. I flew over my house. And then I crashed into the local Asda because I couldn't figure out the controls. So I don't think I've got a career in aviation ahead of me, but I will try
nah.
again when this comes. But the next announcement we got was from Bethesda, and it was for Elder Scrolls Online. It has to be here. It wouldn't be an Xbox presentation without it. So
God.
Gold Road is coming on June 18th, which is an expansion, and they're also offering for a limited time that players can go and play all the DLC for free to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. I think we've spoke about Elder Scrolls Online beforehand. It's just not our jam, sadly. So we'll move on to the next, which was a world premiere. And I know what I can almost visualize Scott's notes from here, but it is Life is Strange Double Exposure is coming October 29th to Game Pass, Xbox, and PC. Max Caulfield is back. It's another supernatural murder mystery. You're going in between parallel universes. Yes, yes, double yes. I am so in. But Scott, I need to hear your thoughts, even though I know what they
Oh,
are, but I need to
Christ.
hear your
Yeah.
thoughts.
I have again no emotional attachment to the Life is Strange series at all. Um, Again, I just wrote Liam will love this. Like I've
You're
got
right.
I don't have any I don't have any notice on it. I think the fact that it's a murder mystery and stuff like that. Initially, I thought that's pretty cool. I could get on board with that, and then it sort of it sort of delves into the you have to kind of save people from you have to save this character's like Sophie or something, or Safi or
Safi.
something like that. You have to save her from getting killed in like two different kind of multiverses and stuff as well. I was like, I wish it had just kept on that murder mystery kind of
Mhm.
footing. But I not for me, but as I say, you will eat this up.
Honestly, I was so as soon as I seen it, as soon as I saw Square Enix, I was like, "We're getting Life is Strange. Here we go."
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I think it wasn't really until True Colors, to be honest, where I really like properly fell in love with that series. Like, such a special game. Absolutely
mhm.
love it. And seeing this here, I was like, yes. I was actually quite excited by this whole like solving preventing the same murder across two timelines.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quite a cool little hook to get you in there. But the fact that it's what about 4 months away, yes,
That's
like
yeah.
amazing, absolutely amazing announcement for Game Pass as well. Yeah, all in on that. But I digress. We move on to the next announcement, which is a game we've already seen before, but we got to see a little bit more of it here, which is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Coming 2024. Surprised not to see a specific date. Of
Yeah.
course, that's coming to Xbox, PC, and day one with Game Pass. Um, Now, I know we've spoke about this in the podcast before. So, what was your thoughts on this, Scott? Did it move the needle for you at all?
No.
No.
Not really. I think that it 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 does. It looks cool and it retains the feel of the movies. I think that the extended cutscene that we watched in the
Mm.
trailer for it, it retains that. same feel that the movies have always had.
Yep.
Um, but again, I just can't stand that it's first person. I can't stand it. Like, you have this iconic character. Why not let us look at him do these things? Do you know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. Um, I just thought when I saw they went to the Himalayas, my initial thought was the abominable snowman from Monsters Inc. shouting, "Welcome to the Himalayas." Thought about him, and then I just wrote Battleship equals Uncharted One because it just reminded me of that straight away.
Gone,
But
we've gone great circle. We've gone full circle with Indiana
it's,
Jones Uncharted. But yeah,
do you know what? It's obviously it's cool, and the fact that um, the fact that it does retain that feel that the movies does is probably something that interests me more. But I just think it's missing a trick with this blooming first person stuff, man. Like,
I mean,
so daft.
you can totally see how like Machine Games have been appointed to do this. Like
Mhm,
they
mhm.
make like they do such a good job at giving you the powers to take out Nazis, which is great. You know, I'd play those games all day long. And I think I'm looking at the footage here. I'm actually a lot more hyped for this. I was pretty excited when it was first shown, but now seeing it,
Mhm.
and then the music kicks in, the feel of it, the fact that it's this big globe-trotting adventure, I'm totally in. I think they've got the heart and soul of Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
The one thing I
yeah,
will say is I can totally hear that it's Troy Baker now that I know it's him as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
But you just can't beat Indiana Jones Adventure. I think I've wrote here, it's defo a game for the moz and the dads out there. I
yeah.
don't really think younger generations are going to be as hyped for it. That remains to be seen because I just don't think Indiana Jones holds the same weight as what it does for our generation growing up. However,
Mhm.
the fact that this is a massive IP, a huge adventure. Me, I'm actually not fussed in the first person perspective. I'm with you though. I think it would have. I was expecting third person, but I'm still in there. Just just being able to look and explore and examine artifacts and
Aye,
work out
I
puzzles.
get that. I get that. It just seems a bit like redundant that some of the actions that you actually do in world take you to that third person perspective. It's like,
Yeah,
why do it then? Like, it makes no sense. But yeah, I totally agree with you on it. I think that um I'll play it. I'll play it. It will be a game that I'll play because
Game Pass.
I don't want to miss out on it. And yeah, it's on Game Pass, but we'll see how we feel about it when it comes out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. I didn't think it would move the needle too much for you, but I'm very excited on it. And again, it just highlights the value of Xbox Game Pass, which is
Yeah,
great. But we move
yeah.
on. So we got to see more here and a little trailer shown for Mecha Break, which I think was shown Summer Game Fest as well. Just saying it's coming 2025. If not, then there's another Gundam mech game on the way. If you're into mechs and everything that entails, they
Yeah.
hinted at lots of customization options so you can make your build exactly as you want. Fans of these type of games should be pretty hyped. It looked exactly what you can expect, but it's just not one for me. Did it do anything
Mhm.
for you, Scott?
No, it's I said this about the last one that we watched at Summer Games Fest, but it looks like my hands would hurt if I played it. Like playing it like with like my hand literally crunching.
Yeah,
But no, if you're fans of Gundam games, then you'll enjoy it.
yeah, definitely. I can't really say much more to that, so we'll move on. So it was another announcement from Xbox Game Studios here that I've wrote down. In fact, was it? Yes, it was. We're getting this kind of samurai monster hunter vibe. It looked to be like another Souls like game. And it
Mhm.
was Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which is coming 2025, day one, with Game Pass. What was your thoughts on that one, Scott?
So I had an emergency during this part where the wee one was going for a bath just as this trailer came on and the door opened. And
Oh, and we've got a little technical hiccup there.
as the trailer starts, like a gargoyle's wait a minute. There we go. So as the trailer starts, it's like a gargoyle's hands reach down and break the neck
Yeah.
of a character in it. And the wee one walked in the door just as that happened. So I was like, I had to like turn the TV off quickly. But when I turned it back on, from what I saw, the sort of horror vibes and stuff like that that it was showing, you know what I'm into that. So seems like something I'll pick up. And as you say, if it's on Game Pass and stuff like that, then absolutely.
Yeah.
on board with that too.
Yeah, I made a note here. Like, this is definitely one I think you'll vibe with more than
Yeah.
I. It looked really cool, but it definitely looks like something you can enjoy. Looks like it's going to have some pretty challenging, cool monsters to fight as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, I look forward to seeing more from that. And then we moved on Xbox Game Studios again. We've got another look at Avowed, which is coming this year to Xbox and PC. No specific date, but day one, Game Pass. Am I right in saying, is this like we've always known it's coming this year? So we're still waiting
Mhm.
on a specific date, isn't it? So there's been no further movement on
I think
that
so.
from what I recall. I know, right? Cards on the table. I know that you're not interested in this game. Against first person, it's that type of like kind of very colourful Elder Scrolls vibe. I am so excited for this one because I think it's the
Actual,
closest I'm getting to Elder Scrolls for a while. So
yeah,
yeah, I thought it looked insane.
yeah. I, I I lost interest in the trailer just as I was watching it because you know what I'm like.
Mhm.
I think I saw someone shoot a bow and arrow with purple stuff coming out of it, and I was just like, oh, I can't be bothered with this. Um, every single time I've seen it, I've lost interest in it. You know, it's just not a game for me, and I'm happy to admit that. But again, you eat this stuff up.
Yep,
So
knife and fork.
and
I'm here for it.
aye, and as you say, it is the closest thing you're going to get to the Elder Scrolls. That's not the Elder Scrolls Online. So aye, 100%.
So Xbox are going to be showing extended gameplay of this tomorrow, which is the
Tomorrow, I
10th of
think I saw
June.
that on that blog post and stuff as well. So
Yeah, so I'll be
aye,
checking that out. I've got to travel for work tomorrow, so I'll be checking that out. Hopefully, with someone on a train. But yeah, it looks great. The fact this is coming this year, like the calendar's starting to fill up now, which I'm
I
excited
know.
about. So yeah, and it's on Game Pass, which
Hmm.
happy days. Make use of that subscription where you can. But we've had the next one, which is another world premiere from Rebellion, and it was a Brexit simulator. No, joking. It was a new game called Atomfall, which is coming 2025 to Xbox and PC. Another one, day one, on Game Pass. Now, to set the scene, it was showing off this English country town setting. Then all of a sudden, weird robots came out. Think Fallout, but set in England, first person. I thought this looked really cool. Scott, what did you make of this one?
Looked all right. Aye. I wrote absolute Liam game again on this one because it is totally right up your alley.
Yeah.
I thought that the sort of scenery and stuff like that, and sort of the initial vibes that it gave off were really interesting. But just as it got deeper into it, I just lost a wee bit of interest in it. But hopefully next time we see it, I'll maybe see something that does pique the interest there. But aye, again, I just wrote absolute Liam,
Yeah.
absolute Liam game.
You know me too well. You know me too well. And I think, just I actually was getting vibes from everybody's going to the Rapture at first.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it was that kind of quaint English town setting. Um, Obviously joking, with the Brexit simulator thing, but it could happen. But I was quite surprised that it looks like there's a whole like government conspiracy, like weird cults and all that happening. Once it
Yeah,
kind of showed you that it's all right, first person kind of shooter Fallouty type gameplay, I think this could do pretty well. To be honest,
yeah,
I think it
yeah.
could be a wee bit of a sleeper hit that's on the way. So, the fact that it's on Game Pass as well, another feather in its cap. But I look forward to hearing more from that. Looks like it's still got a wee bit of time to cook. Then we moved on to our first kind of in-game footage and cinematic blend of Assassin's Creed Shadows. All I've just wrote here, Scott, is hook it to my veins. So we just got to see more of the stealth gameplay from Naui and the kind of brute fighting style from Yasuke.
Yeah.
I just thought it looked fucking sensational, to be honest with you. I can see the improvements, the slight improvements have made to like kind of the dodging and combat to the takedowns. I just need this game now, man. I just need it. you know, that's the only way I
Yeah.
can describe this. I am the Assassin's Creed apologist on this podcast, and yes, I just need that. I need to consume it now. But did it do
Yeah.
anything for you at all?
Do you know, I didn't actually know it was Assassin's Creed when
Right.
it first came on. I just wrote Xbox Rise of the Ronin, but the more that it got into it, I thought, um, the sort of ninja, what's her name?
Naui.
No, hard gameplay looked class. I thought the way she sort of moved around and the sort of mobility of her and stuff as well was really interesting. And then, as you say, the brute force approach and stuff like that as well looked excellent as well. I think that it's something, it's a trailer that's made me think twice about buying it.
Yeah.
Maybe sort of jumping on board, but um, I'll maybe take a look at the Ubisoft Forward stuff when it eventually hits, and I'll sort of see how that looks. But um, this is what happens with Assassin's Creed every single time they come out, because I have no interest, and then a month, 2 months before, I'm like, I think I might actually look at that and buy it, and then I buy it, and then I hate it, and then I never play it. But I think that there's enough here in the setting and stuff like that is something that I'm definitely interested in. That
Yeah.
um, it's maybe something that I'll pick up. It's always the story with Assassin's Creed, is that you buy into the world and stuff, but then you have to sort of suffer through the story that they present to you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But I suppose, we enjoyed Rise of the Ronin, and that story was not great.
the story in Rise of the Ronin is a story there, but like you have to put up with, what would you call him, the mad English guy that's in it,
Yeah.
talking all the time, and kind of the current day characters and stuff like that always in it as well. So um but that's Assassin's Creed in it. That's
Yeah.
what it's made. That's what it's been since it's been made. So
Yeah.
um
I
aye,
mean,
can't complain too much.
November 15th, folks, it's going to be coming everywhere.
Yep.
And it looked like it had some kind of black and white finishers kind of
Yeah.
hinted at on it as well.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is really going to surprise people and bring a lot of people
Mhm.
back to the series, because I think the setting will do wonders for it. But yeah, um, I'm going to be there regardless. There's a few things in it that I'm a bit gutted about. But I love these huge Assassin's Creed games. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm in the silent majority. Mirage, I think, was the product of listening to a minority of prominent fans, and what you got was a very bland experience in the end. So I'm hoping it's less Mirage and a little bit more Valhalla Odyssey, that type of vibe, because
Yeah.
we're at that point. I'd seen someone tweet about this, just kind of like we've reached a point now where people have kind of stopped hating on Valhalla and starting to point out all of its positives, just as it always happens as a new one comes out. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll wait and see. Ubisoft Forward tomorrow, so you'll get more on that. Then we move on to a game that's made in Ukraine, and I knew straight away what it was. It's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, coming September 9th, day one on Xbox Game Pass once again. I've just wrote a note here just saying, Christ, it's a looker.
Yeah.
It won't be a game that I play because I'm a coward, but does it do anything for you, Scott?
I wrote the exact same thing as you. Very, very polished
Yeah.
from what we've seen on it. I mean, it looks excellent. As I say, if it's on the Xbox and on Game Pass, then I'll give it a go. But it's definitely one that I was like, wow, that looks incredible.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
100%, I think that I'll definitely jump in with both feet, see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And then from there, we had Sarah Bond, president of Xbox, just to come out and again reiterating that message that they all went on, just highlighting the mix of games on show from indies to blockbuster. And then she came out and announced the Xbox handheld. I'm only joking because that turned out to be a lot of tripe. But she did come out and announce that there's actually 3 new Xbox editions kind of coming out. So you get an all digital Series X, which is the white discless one. I think they're also doing a higher storage option of the Series S and a special edition 2 terabyte Series X with with a disk drive in it. And it kind of had some cool green highlights and kind of star looking things on the black sides of it. Looked pretty cool, but if you're in the market for a new Xbox, this could be the time to strike. Yeah, is what it is, isn't it, Scott?
They definitely look like Xboxes to me.
They definitely do.
I think the key part of it was not this. It was what she said immediately after they were shown, was that they're hard at work on the next generation.
That's right.
Um,
That's
that
right.
was the that was the if you're the Rock, you're punching the guy. You're giving them the slaps. That was the spit in the hand.
Yeah.
That was that one that they kind of follow through on. Um, I've never seen someone smile so much while they spoke. Like with Sarah Bond, like
Yeah.
it was obviously buzzing about it, and I I think that um Xboxes are Xboxes. So
Yeah, I think it's pretty normal to see that.
yeah.
I probably suggest that maybe they're going to be quite happy just to do this upgrade and maybe steer away from a pro model, like with
Hmm.
the what's it called again, the Xbox One X. But yeah, I was. It is what it is. It's expected at this point. I was actually quite relieved to not see a handheld on show here.
Yeah, yeah.
I was also kind of coming away just a little bit. Even if we do get it, it comes back to that conversation about leaks. I mean, in the days leading up to this, you had pretty prominent sources just kind of like that's happening. It's like, right,
Hmm.
okay. And I just don't like all that scuttlebutt just being out there, just kind of like detracting from things and getting people excited and all
I
that.
think I think it is. It's
Yeah,
inevitable,
yeah,
like their approach with obviously cloud gaming and stuff like that as well. It is inevitable that it's coming, but I'm with you. Literally couldn't listen to a podcast or any sort of prominent podcasters on it with it, but uh, and constantly mentioning this handheld Xbox, but I want it to look like a massive X with a screen in the middle.
yeah, like
That's what
something
I
you see in
want.
The Simpsons or something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want it to look like the old Xbox, the OG Xbox. You
just
have to hold it. You have to hold it like that. But I'm interested to see what comes out of this now, because
yeah,
obviously there's going to be people who will not be happy that they leaked not misinformation, but not factually correct information.
yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of which, we then got the words everybody loves to hear at these things. One
Indeed.
more thing, and it was a world premiere. It was Xbox Game Studios showing in-engine footage, and it's none other than Gears of War E-Day, which is coming day one to Game Pass, no date. Developed in Unreal Engine 5, the handsome Marcus Phoenix era is upon us, Scott. This looked fucking sensational. What did you make of
Oh,
it?
dropping the F bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I
Beep.
I'm with you. The minute that I saw his face, I was like, "That's handsome, bloody Marcus Phoenix, man. I'm here for it." Then you got to see Dom as well. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, blood in my
The
veins."
boy's back. Boy's back.
Aye, that's it. But I was just happy. If anything, I was just happy to see the name Gears of War. It's not, Gears E Day or anything like that, or
Yeah.
just E Day. It's Gears of War. That's it shows that they understand that there's a market for that. Like people
Yeah.
people want more Marcus. People want to see what's happened. So, or how we got there. Because I think that is it a remake, or is it like a kind of like an origin story of
So
events pre Gears One?
I've got some details here that Shinobi602 has put out kindly on Twitter. So it's basically saying that it's not going to be a spin off, it's a new entry in the
Oh,
franchise, in the saga. The Coalition, they've basically said that they're quite happy with Gears 4 and 5 and the stories that that's been telling. They're not turning their back on it, but they
mhm.
thought that making this game, this kind of going back, was too good an opportunity for them to turn down. So what they're looking to do is kind of recreate and improve the shooter cover mechanics and kind of going back to that tone that you had in the original Gears, which I'm so happy to hear with that
Yeah.
next gen polish. So it's going to be taking 14 years before the first Gears of War game, and it's going to be basically tackling how ill prepared Sarah, the planet in Gears of War, has responded to this locust invasion. So, and they're making a point of kind of recasting the Locust, because in Gears 4 and 5, the Locusts aren't there anymore, of course. And they're wanting them just to not just be mindless idiots, but to be stuff of nightmares, which is cool. So they've kind of went back to the design of the drone, so they're not just cannon fodder. They're wanting it to be something that is intense and brutal.
Mhm.
And yeah, basically I think the central theme they've said here is going to be the fear of encountering that enemy, the Locust, for the
Mhm.
first time. And they're going to be talking about the origin of the Lancer. So how it got the chainsaw is going to be a part in it, and the narrative. It's following the early stages of Marcus and Dom's brotherhood, bonding over the loss of Dom's older brother Carlos, who was close with Marcus. And the final point here was that there's over 100 times more environment and character details than Gears 5.
Oh man, that's cool.
So,
Gears 5 looked gorgeous as well.
oh, it was
but-
insane.
aye,
Absolutely insane.
so I mean, if there's anything to drop the bomb on, do you know what I mean? Like that is the moment that really sealed it for me. That this
Megaton.
was it's fantastic, and I'm just buzzing to see them go back to it. I really am.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I was like, really, at first, my note was, are they going, is this the kind of rumoured remake again?
Yeah.
Like they were kind of going to revisit that. Is it going to be a Gears collection, like with a cinematic? But I was like, no, it's an engine. Everything about this, I'm so excited for. Like the kind of odd and dark tone, particularly of Gears 1. Gears 2 not so much, but Gears 1 in particular had such a cool kind of almost isolated tone to it, and I'm delighted that they're going to be going back to that and revisiting it. And I'd always love to. I remember getting the collector's edition of Gears 1 and reading like the backstory, like a little booklet with it, and just being obsessed. Just kind of going through it. I wanted more from that world, and yeah, I think it's a good move. Gear 6 can obviously wait. I think the rumours were we're getting Gear 6, but I mean it was half truth because we've got Gears, and yeah, this just looks amazing. I'm probably guessing this might be further away than we think, if they've not put a date on it. But that was how they wrapped up the showcase, which was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's easily the best one that we saw so
without
far.
a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. It's the strongest. It's the strongest showcase of games that we've seen in a very long time. You know, especially just from Xbox. And just it shows you that there's life in the console yet. You know, it's there's something to believe in. I was just thinking there that, you know, just because I mean obviously made my notes about what's happened there. I just wrote a wee bit at the end, like sort of final thoughts, kind of family friendly titles. Not really many there. Double Fine.
Still worried about them. Yep.
Gone missing. And I just, as I say, just no exact dates, no acknowledgement of the closures and stuff like that. But taking that all out of it, a fabulous, absolutely fabulous show.
Yeah, it was.
From Xbox.
It really, I think, you know, they've put out a little roundup. They showed off 30 games, 30 of which going to PC. 18 are coming day one to Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. 17 of them are first party games, so more than 50% of the games shown here were that. And they also got the one more thing in there as well. If I had to give this a score, we don't do 0.5s, but I'd have to give this a 9.5 for me on our scale out of 10. I'm very close to a 10, to be honest with you, Scott, because a lot of stuff there was great. But
I mean, it was, for you, we spoke after Summer Games Fest that there wasn't much there for you.
Yeah.
And this felt like they just went, right, but what do you actually want, Liam? Like, what do you want us to make you? Like, you've gone to a restaurant and they don't have anything on the menu, and they've just gone, tell us what you want and we'll make it for you.
Yeah,
you know?
This was Chef's Table for me. This was Chef's Table, you know.
It was incredible. Like, it was just, like, if I didn't know any better, you made this, you know.
Well.
This is you that made this. But no, for me, it's a good 9. You know, I mean, it's definitely a 9 there for me. Just those small points that really riled me, you know, riled me up. But apart from that, I thought fabulous, fantastic
indeed.
showing from Xbox.
I think this is the best presentation we've had this generation across the board. Yeah. If I'm honest,
do you know, it's the first time that I've thought, wow, like look what we've got coming. You know, I think that we've obviously played games that have made us look at the consoles and think like this is really pushing parts of it, but these kind of like even just like Fable and stuff like that, like there's so much there. So very happy with what I've seen, and that's coming from someone who's not a massive Xbox fan. You know,
high praise indeed, folks. High praise indeed.
It's definitely something that I'm kind of excited for the future for.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's only a good thing. Do you know what? It goes back to the old, and I'm sorry for dragging this on, right? But
No,
it goes back to you can't have a good WWE without a good competitor.
so
So
true.
like we obviously watched the state of play or whatever it was for PlayStation, right?
Yep.
And we've all come away from that thinking like, I mean, it was all right, but it kind of feels like now we've seen this from Xbox that there might be a wee kind of boot up the arse, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see that. So if PlayStation is WWE, does that make Xbox WCW?
Where the big boys play, what remains to be seen. But yeah, it's a good question. I think competition is the absolute lifeblood of innovation, and it's only a good thing. And that's why you don't want to see these big acquisitions too often. The only thing that I was disappointed by, right, there's two things, and it's very, very small and very personal, which is I was really hoping to see more of Jurassic Park Survival here. I was really shocked that it wasn't. But we'll get more on that. You know, it's just that's probably the number one game I'm looking forward to. And outside of that, I was shocked that we didn't see more back catalogue additions to Game Pass from the
Yeah.
Activision stuff. Particularly, I was like, get Black Ops 2 on there, but I was really shocked. But that is something, that's an ace they've got up their sleeve for a rainy day now. And
Yeah.
speaking of Black Ops, right after the presentation was the Black Ops 6 Direct. Now,
Yeah.
I will add the caveat right up front. This just felt like a flex, a positioning exercise to show that Call of Duty, Xbox, they are as one. You know, this really could have been an email. It's one of those ones. Scott, did you end up watching it? Did you tune out at this point?
Nah, I tuned out of it. I was on dad duties.
So it was. I'll sum this up quickly because there wasn't a lot in there, but the headline stuff. Talked a little about the campaign. It's not going to be this big open world thing that they talked about, but they're really wanting it to be replayable. You can approach things in different ways. It'll play out in a different way. Mission variety. It's going to be a unique experience. It's the big focus of this. So could be storming a palace or doing a casino heist. So they're wanting it to be really emergent and not as linear. So that's what it is. You've got returning characters like Frank Woods and Russell Adler with alongside some new characters as well. So it did actually pique my interest for it, but it's nothing I was like, wow, 10 out of 10. But they lingered on that for a bit. Then they moved into what seems to be like the big gimmick this year, which was hinted at in the trailer, which is what they're calling the Omni movement system. So basically, you can change up between slide and dive and have 360 prone aim options, kind of like if you think back to Metal Gear Solid 5. So that's kind of been added in there. So they're really just fine tuning stuff, which sounds pretty cool. And then there's that new intelligent movement system, which they're introducing. So it all comes back to really customizing your own COD experience so you can reduce the amount of button inputs to help you navigate. So you can tweak this in the settings so you don't have to press X a million times to mantle and all that, which is pretty cool. They've talked about some technical improvements. So they had 4 hit regions originally. They've now upped that to 9, and each one of them is going to have a bespoke animation based on where you were hit and died from, effectively, which is, again, it's just small iterations that we're talking about here. One thing which I was very excited to hear about was that you can customize the HUD a lot more than you've ever been able to do. I think that this is the first time, so you can move the mini map about to the left or right.
Right, okay.
You can put everything center. They showed that the medals are returning for kills. If you've got like Bloodthirsty, that's coming up in the top center, but you can move all that stuff about. And one thing that the community will be delighted about, the progression. So the traditional prestige system is back. So there's right from launch, you'll get 10 prestige levels with unique rewards. Then you can kind of enter prestige with relocked gear and just start that curve again. But then once you hit prestige master, there's 1,000 levels within that. So it sounds like you might be able to get to prestige 10 fairly quickly, but that's available day one with Blob 6, which is pretty cool. They're going to be giving a bigger deep dive into multiplayer in August. They're going to be having their own kind of specific event for that. 16 maps at launch. The big thing is that they're adopting the classic 3-lane map structure. which is
Good.
good. I think we spoke about this playing COD recently through the years, which is we've really missed that approach. So that's really the kind of design mantra they're taking for it. They then talked about zombies. It's going to be 2 new maps at launch. It's round-based zombies again. And yeah, they hinted at Warzone. That's going to be coming at the next event, and it's launching October 25th. But I can see why they didn't put that in the Xbox showcase. If they had this segment in there, it would have bogged it down because it wasn't particularly long. So I get why it's like, do you know what? There's 100 million players in the community. They're going to tune in to maybe something just for that because
Mhm.
a big chunk of them will buy a console and just buy this game once a year and not
Yeah.
play anything else. So I can see the sensibility in it, and it's made the showcase better. So I'm kind of glad it was there. But for people tuning in, I've just summed up all you really need to know from it. It's not really worth checking out, to be honest. So there's cool iterations and improvements coming to COD. But yeah, is what it is. Is what it is. But that is that wraps everything up for
Right.
what was a very tremendous Xbox Game Showcase and Call of Duty Direct. So that was your Pixel Reacts for that. What did you make of the show? Were you happy with the announcements? Anything you're hyped about? Are you as high as ourselves on the show? Let us know at Twitter at pixel_parents or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear, just leave a 5-star review. And for more, you can listen to the Pixel Parent Podcast every week on your podcast platform of choice, where we discuss the world of gaming from the perspective of parents. But until next time, thank you, of course, Scott, for your fine words. And of course, thanks to Sean Murray for producing this as well, the music man. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.